Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for December 17th, 2024. This is a time machine episode. You can actually go back in time over at ohmtown.com. You can just select the year all the way back to 2020. You can select any of the months and any of the days. My time machine took me back yesterday because I wasn't available. The Sentient AI isn't available today. But we've got 10 articles all lined up. The first article is, we're going to talk about these 10. How about that? So, active museum exhibits, the Delta Airlines Stowaway, still stuck in space, Walmart Frontline cameras. Boston Dynamics lets the humans go, a sinking skyscraper, googly-eyed sculptures, rolling Netflinging robots, school bus driver ride-sharing, and massive drone is not the real problem here. That and more, powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. I'll see you on the other side. All right, folks, let's get into this. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. This is pretty much how the Time Machine episodes go. I don't I ramble, but try not to belabor it too much. But let's get into this. The very first article is over in Technology Today. That's one of our 6 weekly episodes that make up the Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be doing the show all the way up until the holiday break, basically, and then we'll be streaming the weekly replay. Anyway, so a volcanic explosion every 15 minutes, how Australia's museums are turning to tech to lure us in. Museums are using VR and immersive experiences to boost attendance. And I don't know why it says attendances. Anyway, attendance. And maybe it is attendances. I don't know. And while it can provide an amazing spectacle, critics say it can be an expensive distraction. It starts with a low rumble, then an explosion and a deafening roar. A pyroclastic flow bursts from the volcano and hurtles towards us at a frightening speed. Showers of ash appear to pummel the space around us. Well, technically, it's a pumice lapilli unique to Mount Vesuvius, and for a few minutes, visitors to the National Museum of Australia are in Pompeii 1,946 years ago. These are immersive experiences that are going on. I'm not sure. So Kelly Berg over at theguardian.com put this article together, and honestly, I don't know how this is deemed an expensive distraction, but let's find out. Lauren Dondy, the head of development and international touring for Grand Palais Immersive, the French company behind Pompeii, says that they understand some of the criticisms of immersive tech in museums. They say, "I am sorry, I do not want to see a Van Gogh smoking or scratching his head," he says. "What we do, in part art, part science, technology, is part of the creative process that surprises the public and can bring another layer of experience that, yes, is a little fun too." So in Pompeii, it's an attraction which has opened at Canberra's National Museum of Australia. Mount Vesuvius does its thing every 15 minutes. More than 500,000 people visited the Australian Museum's record-breaking Ramses and the Gold of the Pharaohs exhibition in Sydney, and a quarter opted to pay for an additional $30 per person and join a long queue to experience the VR component. So I'm not quite sure what Gideon Experiences, the company that created Pompeii special effects, obtained exclusive access to the site's archaeological excavations beyond the reach of the visiting public, and for 2 years Gideon documented each day of the archaeologists' work, then used CGI to construct the city's streets and houses. Rather than distracting the visitor, the spectacle informs and complements more than 90 objects on loan from the archaeological park of Pompeii, including frescoes, mosaics, jewelry, sculptures, household objects. I've actually been to Pompeii. I was very young, but I still remember seeing a hole in the ground that was the indicator that there was actually a former body there. They make these casts, which you can actually see here, of how the people, animals, everybody, everything was encased in ash that basically saved everything, including even facial feature structures and whatnot. It's pretty sad. So the downside of this exorbitant cost, the technology adds to exhibition budgets, which is passed on to ticket prices. So it says they're expensive, and there's always going to be a race to have the latest bit of digital technology, says Kiara O'Reilly, director of the Museum and Heritage Program at the University of Sydney and co-author of The Rise of the Must-See Exhibition Blockbusters in Australian Museums and Galleries. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that they're a distraction. They're additional context and motivation to go and see it. And in a world where TikTok reigns and people would rather feel like they feel informed, but as far as their iPad or phone takes them, and that's it. Intellectual curiosity be damned. So anything that actually stirs someone to go and investigate and read more and watch more, get context and understanding, is a win. So I don't see this as a distraction at all. I think that this is great. So do we run the risk of future generations being incapable of absorbing the significance of artifacts on display without technical pizzazz? Maybe we do, they say, O'Reilly says. But maybe they wouldn't go if we didn't have that in the first place. And that's not really, I mean, people can't go. Maybe in your region they can go. Or if the museum piece relocates, and even then it's expensive. But if it's all digitized and put into a VR space, then you can go to a multitude of places for $300, the price of an inexpensive VR headset. When 100 children were surveyed by the Australian Museum about what they would like to see in a museum of the future, McKay says that they were expecting, we want screens here, there, everywhere. They didn't. It was more spiders, more sharks, more snakes. They wanted more of the real thing. You're asking, maybe that can be some input, but by no means should you be driven by what children are asking for alone, because there's a large gamut of people, right? All the way up to their 80s, 90s that are interested in science and history and whatnot. I think you need to run the full gamut. Technology certainly affords that. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Svetlana Dali, the Delta Airlines stowaway, arrested again trying to flee U.S. Svetlana Dali stowed away on a Delta Airlines flight to France in November and was arrested by the FBI when she returned to the U.S. Now she's been arrested again. Aaron Katursky over at abcnews.go.com put the article together. Let's see here. This is pretty wild. It says Dolly had cut off her ankle monitor on Sunday and was trying to sneak into Canada. Law enforcement says the person she was staying with in Philadelphia discovered the bracelet cut and alerted authorities. An arrest warrant was issued for bail jumping on Monday morning out of the Eastern District of New York. The Russian national was apprehended in Buffalo on Monday afternoon. She was on a Greyhound bus trying to cross into Canada. When law enforcement asked her to produce her passport, she did not have one. She was taken into custody. So she was originally caught traveling without proper documentation on November 26th. She had sneaked aboard Delta Flight 264, which it says department. It's supposed to be departed from JFK International Airport in New York and was bound for Charles de Gaulle International Airport in Paris. She was unable to avoid detection on the flight, and she wound up being returned to the U.S. days later. And according to a statement from the French Interior Ministry, she was not admitted to the French territory due to a lack of a valid travel document, a visa, and was placed on the waiting area for the time necessary for her rerouting to the United States since she held a valid U.S. residence permit. So why was she caught? Why is she being held in the United States? She made a statement to the judge because she claims that she'd been trafficked and poisoned. Well, what is going on here? And why are they? I don't get it. Civil lawsuit, mirroring claims in a previous civil lawsuit. Against who? Let her go. So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Well, maybe other countries don't want her, right? So NASA's astronaut stuck in space hit with another delay before return home. So what's going on with this is that the article, by the way, is by Matthew Impelli over at Newsweek.com. And what's going on is that a new SpaceX, craft is being sent up instead of the older one. And they want to rotate crews out. And so there is a delay. Test pilots Wilmore and Williams originally expected to spend about a week in orbit after launching on June 5th as part of Boeing's first astronaut mission to the International Space Station, but the Starliner shit the bed and was a sieve before it should have. Down on Earth, it was a sieve. I called it multiple times. This thing should not go. And sure enough, it goes and strands these two human beings up on the space station because of profiteering, in my estimation. I think that it is. I mean, I'll probably, at some point I'll probably get in trouble for voicing an opinion. Apparently you're not allowed to do that. But for the life of me, this thing should not have gone. So NASA's next crew of 4 was originally set to launch in February, with Wilmore and Williams returning home by the end of the month alongside the 2 astronauts. However, SpaceX requires additional time to ready the new capsule for flight, pushing the launch to late March at the earliest. So it wasn't just this Friday. They're not even going to launch, not February. I mean, not this February, but March. So kick the can. They should just send a shuttle up, not a shuttle. I mean, it's a capsule, a crew capsule. They should send up a SpaceX rocket, grab these 2 and bring them down safely, and then whatever. But if they want to stay up there, then they can stay up there. If they're doing valuable science and they want to stay up there, then so be it. It shouldn't be an economic matter at this point. In August, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson spoke about bringing the Starliner home without Williams and Wilmore, saying spaceflight is risky even at its safest and most routine. A test flight by nature is neither safe nor routine. The decision to keep Butch and Sonny aboard the International Space Station and bring Boeing Starliner home uncrewed is the result of our commitment to safety. Yeah, it should never have launched in the first place. Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News as well. Walmart is testing body cameras for some frontline employees in Texas. Walmart shoppers in Texas may want to think twice before losing their cool with a store employee. The interaction could be captured in an up-close and personal camera angle. The retail giant is testing body cameras for store employees in Dallas area. By the way, it is demonstrably proven that when you are being observed, if you're not a sociopath or a psychopath, you go on your best behavior. And so maybe this will let people know that they're being watched overtly. And some people just have a mental disorder that's going to cause them to attack these people anyway. Once they find out that they're being recorded, I didn't give you permission, and give me that thing, and they're going to lunge for these people. But then that's assault and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if Texas is a two-party state, so audible recordings are not necessarily allowed in any setting. So unless you're a willing participant and you accept it, and entering a store alone isn't necessarily legally robust enough to defend against something like this. Yeah, because you can put all over the place that a place is under surveillance, but audible recordings are still not. Well, Dominic Reuter over at BusinessInsider.com put this article together. It says, earlier this year, Axon introduced a line of cameras designed for retail and healthcare workers. A spokesperson said that the goal of the pilot was to improve worker safety and evaluate the results over at Walmart. That's the Walmart spokesperson. Walmart is testing out these body cams for store employees. One shopper told CNBC they saw a receipt checker in Denton, Texas, wearing a yellow and black camera earlier this month, and an image of a rack of 16 similarly colored cameras was posted last month to the Walmart subreddit. A Walmart branded poster in the image instructs users in ways to wear the camera, how to stop and start recording an event, and a reminder to remove the camera when visiting break rooms or restrooms. The charging station for the cameras is marked with an Axon brand, so somebody went in and actually looked at it. Over the summer, TJ Maxx equipped store associates with body cameras as a method to deter crime. Yeah, I think the only way to really deter crime is to provide opportunity to embrace the social construct. Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. All of these show notes, by the way, will be in the YouTube channel and the podcast. They don't get posted over to I should post them to the Discord and Patreon, but I haven't been doing that. But I don't post them on Twitch because Twitch deletes them after 60 days, so it's nearly meaningless long term. And you can always go over to youtube.com/ohmtown and click on the links there. It takes you to ohmtown. Well, anyway, Boston Dynamics, the company behind the popular Spot, Robot Dog, and Atlas, apparently is in financial trouble. As the Boston Globe reported last week, the company laid off 45 employees, accounting for about 5% of its workforce. The layoffs affect nearly every function throughout the business. The decision was not made lightly. Our long-term outlook remains positive. Spot continues scaling steadily with industrial and government. Stretch is proving its value with logistics and retail players. So the article is over at futurism.com in a section that they refer to as the Bite. Victor Tangerman put the article together. And that's basically the nuts and bolts of this article. The company is also facing steadily growing competition, particularly when it comes to humanoid robots, with companies like Tesla, Agility Robotics, Figure AI are all raising huge sums to bring similar robots to the market. Except that I don't think so, right? Figure AI, Agility, and Tesla all use AI elements in an overt interactive sense, whereas Boston Dynamics doesn't appear to be. They're utilitarian bots doing work that humans can do without human interaction, as far as I have ever seen any of their marketing. So more recently, a Spot Robot Dog was spotted patrolling Mar-a-Lago. Boston Dynamics Stretch, a tall robot arm on wheels, is already making its way into autonomously operated warehouses. So bye-bye jobs. Well, human jobs. A recently announced and fully electric version of the company's humanoid Atlas robot is also set to go on sale soon, according to an April update. So there you go, folks. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. The Porsche-designed luxury skyscraper in Miami is sinking much faster than expected. The Porsche-designed tower in Miami, built in 2014, so it's 10 years old, is one of 35 luxury beachfront properties along the coast that has recently been involved in a study by the University of Miami, and they've been sinking. So one says here, it says that it has sunk by up to 3 inches into the unstable sandy earth. 3 inches might not seem like a lot, but this is much faster than experts anticipated. The article is put together over at jalopnik.com by Bradley Brunell. A 12-story residential building nearby collapsed in 2021. If it is what I think that they're referring to, the cause of that is a bit different. I'm trying to scan it to see. Yeah, I don't know. They don't really. So let's see here. Yeah. So the problem with that one of the buildings that collapsed in Florida, the surfside condos, it was actually because of a multitude of things. I think that they're ultimately the report is going to say that a multitude of things led to its collapse, but primarily, I think that the wrong type of concrete for the posts, the wrong density of rebar, and its location within the foundation, and then packing on it. Basically, the support structure was too weak to support the modern conveniences and upgrades that people put into the building. And because it was modified because of the cultural and temporal relativism, the building code then isn't what it is today. And so the new stuff that was put in it, like marble slabs and stuff like that, just overpowered it. And then construction next door caused additional shifting, and ultimately the front of the building towards the pool side punched through the supports and pulled the building down. Only saved one half of it, which ultimately was torn down because it had a shear wall. And if it would have had shear walls in between sections adequately, then the full impact would have been minimized. But ultimately, it's because of building code and what the builders actually put together couldn't support all of the extra weight. I think that's what's going to ultimately be found, but I don't think the report has actually been released yet. So the collapse of the 12-story building nearby in 2021, which killed 98 people, caused geologists to keep a close eye on the buildings. They had already known about it. They were putting reinforcement posts on nearby buildings because of the same design. There was like a north and south buildings, seaside. Well, they knew that this was happening, that there was something going on, but I think that they were just too slow to move, even though it was a considerable amount of time. And so this is another one of these things. The sinking could be a sign that rising sea levels are accelerating the erosion of the property's underlying limestone. Much of South Florida is built upon limestone, and this problem is not limited to just the Miami area. The 35 buildings in question include the Ritz-Carlton Residences, the Surfs Club Four Seasons, Trump Tower 3, Trump International Beach Resort, and several other high-end condos. The study used satellite imagery to measure how much the land beneath each building had sunk, and was able to pinpoint that measurement down to the fraction of an inch. All of the buildings had sunk to some degree, with measurements showing between 0.8 inches and 3 inches. It is possible that at least some of the Porsche design building sinking is due to the ground settling underneath the building, as it's still relatively new construction, and the 56th floor building with an integrated car elevator is quite heavy. That is insane. I don't know. A sinking building, even an inch, is for a consumer level I guess, response or reaction to hearing that your building sank an inch seems pretty damn tremendous. I would not want to be in a building that sank an inch. If I knew that the mayoral mansion had sunk an inch, I'd probably be having a freaking panic attack and demanding the builder do something about it. But I guess not. I would not be living in that building. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in the Marvel Channel. Someone is sticking googly eyes on public sculptures in Oregon, and the city officials are not amused. We are not amused. Many residents of Bend love the illicit adornments. Illicit. Come on, it's googly eyes. Which they say are sparking joy and driving engagement with public art. Now, if they're causing damage, then I can understand that it would be a problem. But I don't know. Sarah Kuda put the article together. It's over at SmithsonianMag.com. And I think that this is hilarious. Someone has been sticking googly eyes onto public art installations, such as artist Brandon Zebold's Orb 1 in Bend, Oregon. Oh God, that's hilarious. There's a deer that has these giant googly eyes. So far, city officials say they spent $1,500 removing the googly eyes from sculptures. $1,500? Just walk up and take them off, for crying out loud. I wonder if they also expect to spend another $5,000 to clean and restore a piece called Crossroads, which was also vandalized with graffiti. That wasn't from somebody sticking googly eyes on it, for crying out loud. Oh, even down at the bottom, the little baby Big Ears by artist Joe Halko has these giant googly eyes. It's awesome. I love it. So the googly eyes placed on various art pieces around town might give you a chuckle. It costs money to remove them with care, not to damage the art. Yeah. The sculptures have been previously decorated with Santa hats, wreaths, and leis. The city does not condone those adornments either, but asks students, I keep wanting to fill in blanks, residents to stay away from adhesives, graffiti, and all other things that can damage the art. Online commenters expressed their support of the googly eyes and poked fun at the city's response. Long live the googly eyes bandit, one person writes. Don't worry, citizens. The city of Bend is tackling the big issues I see. Artist Ulrich Packer created one of the pieces that was googly-eyed, a sculpture called 3 Rising. His wife, Pamela Packer Kozicki, who co-owns and manages Ulrich Packer Studios, with him, tells the Times that she thinks the adornments are silly and playful, but only if they can be easily removed and do not damage the sculpture. It's vastly preferable for a piece of public art to have interactions with the public than be ignored. Yeah, it's like getting a paper written or published in a journal, and then nobody references it. You know, who cares if it's there? If nobody appreciates it, nobody talks about it, nobody knows it exists. You know, that says you're gonna get mad about that. It's fun, Colbert said, and frankly, it's safer. If Bambi's mom had those eyes, maybe she'd have seen the hunter coming. Oh. Anyway, it's a funny article. Okay, let's keep going. We've got 3 more articles, including this one. Rolling robots armed with net-flinging guns are the latest nightmare fuel. It's over on 4-Wheel Tech. It's by Jalopnik. Owen Bellwood put the article together, and it's one of these, like, it's the kind of wheel that you would find on the motorcycle from Batman. Rolling robots have been deployed in China, and while they look fun, they're actually armed with net guns, tear gas, and can hit speeds of 22 miles per hour. Yeah, pretty wild, huh? A new rolling robot has been sent into the field in China. The spherical crime-fighting device is a lot more sinister than New York's failed attempt at robot policing and comes armed with net-throwing guns, tear gas, and can pursue suspects at up to 22 miles per hour. And if they were to hit somebody going 22 miles per hour, that would cause some serious harm. So if that all sounds like your idea of a sci-fi nightmare, then you might want to look away now. Police in the city of Wengshu in Zhejiang province rolled out these monsters last week, reports Futurism, called the Rotundbot. Rotundbot. I'm not sure how they actually put the inflection in there, but anyway, they consist of a huge rubber tire that fits around a sphere that's about 2 feet high. Within the sphere is all the tech that powers the robot, including the motors that spin its one wheel, the computers to power the systems that will allow it to run autonomously, and its weapons. Rotundbot, or RTG for short. I don't know why RTG. The spherical robot was created by researchers at Zhejiang University on behalf of Shenzhen-based outfit called Logan Technology. It reportedly weighs about 275 pounds and travels up to 22 miles per hour. And according to Wang Yu, an associate professor who worked on it, only takes a few seconds to reach that speed. There is a video and some more that you can read about this. I won't go through all of it. There's just police walking around with this ball that kind of lumbers back and forth a little bit. It kind of slowly rocks just a little bit. And it's controlled by somebody behind them that's just watching it. Maybe it can autonomously as well, just kind of program itself to go in whatever direction it's programmed to go. I know. I find it more of a sci-fi thing than it is practical, but let's keep going. Oh my goodness, it really does fire. Sorry, I thought I was going to move on, but no. No, I got to watch this gun fire off. Yeah, it fires a net gun. I think it surprised the people that it was tested on. Okay, now we'll go. Okay, so the next article is over in four-wheel tech. A school bus driver shortage are so bad that ride-sharing apps are stepping in with paltry part-time pay and commercial driver's license requirements. School districts are struggling to recruit new bus drivers, shuttering their student transportation services as a result. Several purpose-built ride-sharing apps have risen into prominence, attempting to fill the void. So Ryan Eric King over at jalopnik.com put the article together. This is pretty wild because taxpayer dollars are supposed to pay for all of the buses and pay for bus drivers to get paid to drive students around. And there's a lot of people that would volunteer, but you still have to pay for the commercial driver's license training and the buses themselves and the fuel and all of that. But I don't know how ride-sharing apps would be able to remedy this at a cost-effective method, or price, I should say. In Massachusetts, the driver shortage quickly became so severe that Governor Charlie Baker deployed the National Guard to drive school buses across, it says. However, a school district outside of the mission area was forced to cancel classes due to the lack of available drivers. Chicago Public Schools is one of the hardest hit districts with only a fraction of students eligible for bus service. Only 17,000 out of 325,000 children get to board a yellow school bus every day. Parents are forced to get their kids to school themselves or find an alternative. The Associated Press spoke to Aaron Rose Schubert, a volunteer for the CPS Parents for Buses advocacy group. The people who had the money and privilege were able to figure out other situations like rearranging their work schedules or public transportation. People who didn't, some had to pull their kids out of school. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a socioeconomic mechanism. Hop, Skip, Drive, and Kango collaborate directly with school districts to operate. These companies promise to perform extensive background checks on drivers to ensure student safety. The drivers are also expected to be commute caretakers, helping with students with disabilities from the curb to inside the building. Driver pay is better than Lyft and Uber, but that's a low bar to clear, according to the author. The author is Ryan Eric King. They link to another article about how it's a low bar to clear about better pay than Lyft and Uber. We're only in this situation because school districts couldn't pay CDL holders what they're worth. So I would agree. The next article, and our last one for today, is massive drone found by police in New York raises questions. A new photo shows a New York Police Department officer holding up a large aircraft, which appears to be more than 5 feet in diameter. The article is over at newsweek.com by Flynn Nichols. And it's basically your off-the-shelf drone, or even a custom-built one. But these are not the ones that you should be worrying about. These are the ones that have lights on them, and they fail. There's odder things that are flying around, and I don't... It's these type of incidents where one wets the bed and lands on the ground kind of distract. So according to the Post report, police responded to an emailed tip and located the drone on the sidewalk of 5th Street between Market Street and Morris Avenue. A passerby told officers he was working in the building that housed the headquarters of the drone's manufacturer, Emoji Incorporated, a sustainable energy startup. So this is just some stupid ass drone that failed to land in the proper location. So NYPD took possession of it for a brief period. Emoji cooperated fully with New York Police Department, and the drone has been returned because it's not a threat and it's not illegal. The problem is that fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and a bunch of goobers are distracting from the real anomalous actions that are activities that are taking place. And then people go, "Oh, it's just a drone," from that point on. No. It's not necessarily, but it's wasting time, and it's a distraction. So, and it's, like I said, it's empowering the goobers to sit there and go, "Well, it's just a drone from Emoji." Right. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we'll keep on hearing about this, I suppose, until something changes, and then, I don't know, like so many other things, it'll just go away. It'll stop making the news cycle. So we're going to fly our drone all the way back to the front page of ohmTown's directory. Right on the very front page is basically a list of all kinds of news that gets cataloged into 50 channels in 6 main categories. So you can go over to ohmtown.com and manage your information overload just like I do. That's why I made ohmtown.com, to manage my information overload and all of the subjects that I'm interested in. Run a pretty broad gamut. So go over there and become a citizen. And then follow us here on Twitch and here on YouTube. Subscribe to us over on Patreon. Download the podcast. There's actually 1,600 podcast episodes now. Same as over on YouTube. And I hope you enjoy the show. We do this every day. Monday through Friday is Non Sequitur News. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we have 3 unique shows each day. So 3 shows on Saturday, 3 shows on Sunday. And those become Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition for Saturday, and another all unique articles on Sunday as well. So a total of 7 podcasts are made each week. 7 named podcasts, but there are 7 episodes of just Non Sequitur News. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I'm out. I'll see you in a few hours as I step out of the time machine and do the December 18th episode of Non Sequitur News. If everything goes to plan, mayoral duties may prevent me. So see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.